The incident happened years back, in 2014 or 2015, when my fiancé was, and still is, a well-known spoken word poet on Facebook, and got all kinds of contacts and fans through that specific medium. She went to places too, in and around Louisville, to speak her poetry and hosted shows on talk show. I'm an American male of Black, Irish, and Cherokee descent, born in Long Island, but raised in Florida since I was 12. She is Black American from Chicago. I was born in 74, and she was born in 79. We were together for 4 years, and are currently separated, but still communicating. Her life and her charismatic nature seems to be a magnet for weirdos, to say the least. Strange things often have happened when I was with her, both odd and at times supernatural. There were many incidents and different stories I could tell, but this one is one of the strangest. She made a contact with a Facebook follower of her poetry page. He was Black American, very handsome and well-built in appearance, around our age. He looked like the actor who played Blackula back in the day, when he was in his normal human appearance, though they had been talking through Messenger app for a while. And even though my fiancé was very worldly wise, full of street smarts, and a great hustler, so to speak, as Chicago women can be, she is a baptized, believing Christian since she was 11 years old, and this guy said he was also a saved Christian. They talked, and over time, I guess he began to trust her and open up. I am not a jealous man, and knew that the life she was involved in automatically involved communications with all sorts of people, and besides, she was not the type to cheat. She always confided in me anything that was strange or unusual. Apparently, this guy was well off somehow. I don't remember what he did for a living exactly, but he and a close buddy of his traveled often. He said he went to somewhere in Asia, maybe near Tibet. I'm not exactly sure since the incident that occurred had been a while. Apparently, he found out a ritual from some Asian occultist of how to become a werewolf. He didn't say exactly what the ritual was, but it was very evil, involving human sacrifice and selling your soul. Apparently, he and his buddy decided to do this evil thing because they liked the idea of having that much power. Over time, the things he had done began to take over every aspect of his life. He killed and killed from time to time, but grew tired of it and felt he was losing control to the spiritual power that he gave himself over to. Over time, he decided he needed to do whatever was necessary to correct this mistake. He managed to find, after much searching, a deliverance pastor with knowledge of the reality of these things that occur in the occult who would help him. He said he was delivered and later baptized by this man. But sometimes this darkness and pure wrath would start to fill him up at times, and he started to revert back into his evil beast ways, and prayer would stop it. My fiancé, taken aback by all this, was shocked, to say the least. She, of course, being normal-minded, thought he was nuts. She did not believe him, and made the mistake of even mocking him a little bit. He later sent a picture of himself and a short recording that scared the crap out of her. She showed it to me and let me listen, and it freaked me out. We were both in agreement, without taking just facial expression and body language, that she should cut all ties with that man. The picture showed him looking intently into the camera, with animalistic eyes that had a slight shine to them, like canines do. He looked so intently wrathful that if looks could kill, we'd all be dead. His right shoulder was shifted out of place, as though somebody had stretched it from his neck close to 6 inches. The muscles on that side looked swollen too, as if pumped up with steroids, while the left shoulder was somewhat normal. He had on just a tank top, so you could see his upper shoulders pretty good. And the only thing I could say is it looked like his body was in the process of starting to morph into something not normal. Then, I listened to the recording. It sounded like a cross of two things. Take a big, deep, guttural growling wolf sound and cross it with the deep voice of a man, and that is what he sounded like. He said, with the most severe disdain and hatred, "How dare you mock me? How dare you judge me? Don't you ever mock me." And my jaw dropped. I had no impression this was just a prank. There were photos too on his Facebook page that was suspect, in the way of being odd. His eyes, how he looked weightlifting, just different things that this guy said and did, is something so normal serious person is not to be messed with. Later on, I found a video on YouTube called Werewolves and Vampires, Real or Fake, and I learned more about that craziness that goes on in the occultic world. I found other channels like your channel, and found you later after that. And I've got to say that as a truck driver of 25 years, I'm glad, truly glad, I've never run into one of these things on the road late at night, and hope I never do, because at the rate of these accounts of seeing these things that are apparently going up and up and up in recent years, that means America has a serious infestation problem of these beasts, and it might become more common in the near future for many people in the country areas not to be able to go out at night, period, or camping anywhere else in state parks or forests, or lead to an exodus of people to more highly populated areas. Well, that's my story. I believe she had another encounter where she and a girlfriend of hers were at a club in the city, and these people talked to them into going to a private house party. When they got there were others who had weird predatorial eyes, and one claiming to be a vampire, and he wondered what their blood tasted like, in a supposedly sarcastic, joking fashion. They freaked out and ran to her car and sped away. All the while, a few of them were speed-walking fast behind them, with weird grins on their faces. Let's just say that my fiancé is really careful about where she goes out at night and the weekends, and who she is with after that incident. I could tell you more, but it's probably best I cut this email short, so I can be a riveting story for you, and not just a long book. Stay safe and be well. I really appreciate what you are doing to enlighten people about what is going on in our crazy and getting even crazier world that we live in. Well, I'm a huge fan of your channel, so I wanted to send this to you. Do with it what you want. I thought you would like to know what I came across after a walk and taking photos, just off a pretty regular traveled bike trail. I had known about the Bigfoot as I seen one as a young girl hiking in the mountains here in the Northeast, but I had no idea until now that Bigfoot and Dogman do hang in packs as in the wild wolf packs or others. I guess I can call myself a witness or researcher and have been studying Bigfoot for most of my life now. I have many stories to send, But I'm not really a good storyteller. Let's just start with this one. I live in the Northeast. I was just out for a walk into my little favorite spot off the biking trail. It has a stream for fishing, and I had been going there to fish and to just hang in the woods. This time, I was just checking it out and took a path off the blacktop park that the bike trail is at, into where the fishing spot is. I didn't smell anything, but I did notice no birds or movement in the woods. This had me on high alert, 'cause I had a bear stalk me in another area, not far away from this spot. So anyway, I had a feeling just to stop walking on this trail and take a few pictures and leave. Did just that, and went home after getting home. I was scanning my pictures and got rid of bad ones and scanned the ones I like. In one picture, I could see something but didn't know, so I put the SD card in my laptop to view the larger screen. Well, what was standing just a foot off the trail, behind a small tree with most leaves gone, due to it getting late into fall, was a Dogman holding a baby Bigfoot. I was just standing less than 20 feet from it when I took the picture. Sure glad I didn't go any further up that trail. I believe it's a game trail due to the fact I seen the black bear there too. I guess they hang together in packs and are in family units. I stopped going into that area so much because, first, I knew Bigfoot was there. I've seen it. But that's just one of many stories I have. Thank you for all your stories. I do enjoy them, and I'm happy you are bringing awareness to people. It needs to be done. These things are running amok, literally. Especially when you just walk off a well-traveled bike trail where kids are playing and riding bikes. They are not in the deep woods anymore. They are literally in our backyards. This scares me the most. People are walking around with a false sense of security. They truly have no idea what awaits them. I hung out at night, walking the roads with friends, looking for a party or group to get together with. Never ran across a Dogman. Now, I don't go out at night, and days I stay close to the busy city. Thank you. Hi. I wrote to you before about my own experiences in 2015 with an upright canine creature in upstate New York. I want to thank you for sharing my story and also update you on what's been going on. As you might remember, I moved since the encounter I had. It was where my neighbor, Mr. McNeil, had been followed as he rode up into the mountains. I saw the creature from the tree line, and I'll never forget it. Now, I'd like to tell you about what my buddy has witnessed since I left New York. You might remember how I mentioned a neighbor's hunting dogs being torn to shreds. Since then, chickens and pets have been attacked or gone missing. Let me start with the year following my move. My buddy, Thomas, told me that 2 chicken enclosures had been broken into and several chickens taken. I'd chalk it up to wildlife, but the chicken wire fences were literally pressed down into the ground so hard it left prints. Local wildlife does not do that. To further my beliefs, the second neighbor this happened to saw what got into her chickens. She's an elderly lady, Mrs. Weiss, a kind old lady who's been there forever. She told Thomas it was a huge, dark creature with a snout. It dug a hen out of the coop and squatted down. It had the chicken in its grasp, rotating it like corn on the cob as it bit down. She closed her curtains, going upstairs, horrified by what she saw. By midwinter, the cops now were making regular rounds and going back and forth throughout the night for several weeks. Thomas told me that Mr. McNeil's place was dead quiet. He had figured the old guy closed up and left. This was in the winter of 2018. The Catskills were dead still. No tracks, no animal activity whatsoever. At least our portion of it. Then, in January of 2019, Thomas told me that he was out in the woods when he heard the deepest, most resonant howl he has ever heard in his life. He, quote-unquote, ran like hell for at least 5 miles, he says, until he collapsed in his garage, so full of adrenaline that he said he did not even feel his legs under him. For the rest of winter, he and his family heard low howls in the night. This is very uncommon for that area. Last time we talked, he seemed okay. Not too much has happened this year. It does seem to pick up in late December or in January, especially when there's a cold spell. I'll update you more if anything significant happens.